rife is corruption in the delivery of RDP houses here in South Africa? Are the current land invasions just sheer political opportunism? How reliable is the recent South African Institute of Race Relations Fast Facts report? And given its size, will Gauteng ever manage to provide adequate human settlement? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome. My name is Mpho Tsedu. The provision of decent and affordable accommodation to previously disadvantaged citizens became one of the cornerstones of the ANC-led government's RDP, the Reconstruction and Development Programme, that is. While authorities are still grappling with the challenges of fulfilling this mandate, a recent Fast Facts report by the South Africa Institute of Race Relations indicates that expenditure on housing has grown faster than any budget item since 1999. Meanwhile, the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements will soon introduce biometric technology in an effort to eliminate corruption and manipulation of the waiting list, which impacts housing delivery across the province. A reminder that you can call us and air your views on our following numbers: 011-714-6841, 011-714-6842 or 3684142 or 43. My guest today, Jacob Mamabulo, is the MEC for Human Settlements in Gauteng, and Minky Mari Statler is head of the media at South Africa Institute of Race Relations. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and to the viewers.
Yes.
Now, the Fast Facts report, going through it, basically it's saying the ANC has done very well.
It has done very well. Housing is actually one of the success stories, and it's actually one of the ANC government's most successful stories. Why we say that is, looking at the data, we can see that, for example, for every 11 houses, formal houses that go up, one shak has gone up since 1996. And that's a really great sign. It doesn't mean that no shaks are going up. It doesn't mean there isn't a waiting list. There is a backlog of around 2 million houses, 2 million people waiting for houses. But it really is a success story, and you can see it around the country as well. As you drive around, you can see that there has been more provision of houses. But there is also a but.
Yes.
The but is that what we would like to know is this success story going to become one of the ANC's government's greatest challenges? And what we mean by that is, where is the money going to come from over the next 5-10 years? They've put a deadline of 2030 to build all the houses. Minister Sisulu says she can do that by 2024. But we want to know, where is that money going to come from?
Does the report say anything in as far as corruption is concerned?
We did not look at corruption. Obviously, it is a huge issue.
Yes.
Obviously, what we looked at was very straight data from the government, from Stats SA, from the Department for Human Settlements, and looked at the numbers, the numbers of houses. And that looked very, very good.
Okay.
But of course, corruption does play a role, and that is something to take into account. And the other issue is also issues such as Minister Sisulu and also President Zuma saying that young people should take the power into their own hands and build their own house or work towards building their own houses. But again, we don't see that reflected in job creation. So it's very difficult for someone to, for example, build his or her own house or own his or her own house without a job. So it's all very interlinked, and obviously corruption is also a massive issue. And when it comes down to the waiting lists, the individuals on the waiting lists, as I said, there's about 2,057,000 people on the waiting lists.
Okay.
Some of them have been waiting for as long as 9 years, and of those that have been waiting for 9 years, 30% of them are actually based here in Gauteng.
Let me see. Some have been waiting for 9 years, and in fact, some have been waiting since 1994. Are you victims of your own success here?
Thank you very much. Firstly, let me welcome the report and comment, I think, the high level of objectivity in the report. And this is an independent organization. I think it's important to bear that in mind. It's not government propaganda. And the other point to add is that we must compare this phenomenal success in improving the living conditions of the people, making them, for the first time, many of them in their history, to own an immovable asset in the form of a house. But I think we must compare this success with many countries in the world. None of them, as far as I know, have achieved what we have achieved, given where we come from, our history,
yes.
Delivering houses in the manner that we have done. I can imagine if we didn't do this excellent work, how our country would look like. If you look at countries like Brazil, there's a big problem of informality in the places like Rio de Janeiro. And I think really the report, beyond doubt, indicate that we've done very well. And I'd like to say to our people out there that they can be rest assured that whilst we do have people that have been waiting, but the report indicate everybody will get the opportunity, and they will also be like the rest of the people who have received this very important asset, as a result of our democracy. So indeed, people that have been waiting, I think listening to this discussion, having read the report, they can sit comfortably knowing that their time will come. Of course, we don't have a button to press just to help everybody at the same time. Resources, limitations, constraints we have don't allow us to do that. Okay. But people know that it will come to them.
But now, MEC, what do you say to somebody who has been waiting for a house since 1994?
Yes, as I have said, and let me emphasize the point, just as we have helped and, of course, responded positively to many people, the opportunity will come. The one concession point I'd like to concede, of course, is that given the fact that we are one of the few countries in the world that has to grapple with this complex, very difficult task of delivering houses, our systems that we have put in place since in the very early beginning, and of course as time changes, as times move, might have not helped us so much to be able to make sure that once you are on the list, we can be able to confirm you throughout the system. So I'm actually saying it could be true that, and I've seen many cases, and we shouldn't deny the point that there are people that we meet in our imbizos, in interacting with communities, that says I've been waiting on the 1998 list. Yes. But, and thanks for the part, I think now I'd like to use a much more positive part, which is the opportunity will come. We are over and above what we have as an overall technological system, which I must say is very good, which determines who receives or qualifies for a full subsidy. We still have challenges on the first end where we do the housing needs, the first stages of registration, and on the other hand, where we finally hand over the key, linking the person now to real brick and mortar. On those sides, we still have challenges, but I think we are working to improve. You might be aware that in the province of Gauteng, we are saying over and above the technology that government has put in place, we want to introduce much more better ones to deal with the very first step of taking applications and the last part. So those people, I can assure them, we will attend to them, and like the rest of the South Africans, they will get their houses.
Perhaps before I go back to Minki, just to look at the Diepkloof, Dube, Mzimhlophe projects. To ordinary people, they are complete, ready for occupation, but are not being occupied.
Yes, in actual fact, you may be aware just yesterday with Premier David Makura, we have launched a very successful mega project in Ilovo at the Gauteng Institute.
Yes.
And one of the issues that we dealt with was, over the years, we have built what used to be called hostels. And of course, we do even have housing development where the properties have not been handed over. There are different factors that account for that. Some of them you'll find that, like for example in Soweto, we do have a hostel where issues of provision of bulk services has not been resolved. We have houses in Tshwane, in the city of Tshwane, in Winterfeld, where we have had houses not handed over for a very long time because of issues of bulk services. I'm pleased to announce that, as we said just yesterday, we are at a very advanced level interacting with the city of Johannesburg. We're finalizing our paperwork. They're just administrative things we have to do between province and local. Those structures will be finally handed over, and I think we'll make an announcement on that in due course. I've also commissioned an investigation to deal with that matter.
All right, hold the thought there. I want us to take a quick break. When we return, let's look at other matters emanating from this report. This is Question Time. Please don't go away.
Media Monitor. The title says it all.
We do have a dilemma here because Lesotho is a sovereign country. I don't think it is the obligation of South Africa's media to even tell the people of Lesotho what's going on in Lesotho.
Join our panel of experts as they unpack and monitor all the leading and breaking news stories making waves in the print and social media platforms. That's Media Monitor with me, Alicia Jali.
Sundays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today, Jacob Mamabulo, is the MEC for Human Settlements here in Gauteng, and Minki Maristekla is the head of media at South Africa Institute of Race Relations. Now, Minki, despite the fact that the budget, was increased from 1% of the GDP in 1994 to 1999. To what,
3.5%.
3.5
projected for 2017.
Okay.
And that's a 250% increase.
Okay.
And obviously we've seen it reflected, as we said. So, just to say thank you again, we are an independent organization. And when a government is doing well, why not say it?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we are concerned because, as you said yourself, could the government be a victim of its own success? And that's when we're seeing, 250% increases in spending, when other research that we've done, and we also published earlier this year, has actually shown that the government is running out of money, and that government revenue has increased a lot since the mid-2000s. And we're asking, where will the money come from to pay for its own program? And that's really what concerns us. And we do have solutions. We suggest that greater investment and job creation. So with job creation, you give people dignity and jobs in order to build their own homes, but they also become taxpayers, which then adds to the government revenue, where the government can then spend on housing. But that's not really happening at the moment. So those are the questions we have.
Okay, hold the thought there. Ben is in Limpopo. Welcome to Question Time. Ben?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to address myself. MEC, is MEC there?
Yes, Ben. Good afternoon.
Hey, I'm sorry. How are you?
I'm okay, Ben, and you?
I'm fine, man. I just want to raise this concern regarding the distribution of these RDB houses. While we really appreciate the efforts that the government is doing in getting our people housed, but there's still a corruption that the government is not acting on. Like, for instance, you find people having to wait for so many years on a list to be given these RDB houses, and others can wait only 3 months, then they get RDB houses. Why is it that the government is not acting on this corruption in the distribution of these houses? Because direct beneficiaries are not being well treated.
Okay. Perhaps
what is it that the government is doing?
All right,
to get rid of this corruption so that these houses could be distributed evenly and fairly so.
Okay, thanks very much, Ben. And perhaps whilst you're answering that, MEC, just include also the fact that I know that ordinary people out there do not understand that people of foreign origin who may not have been born in South Africa, perhaps do qualify also to receive houses, and this has also contributed or fueled animosity between nationals, whether they be South African and those that are not necessarily South African. How does it come that foreign nationals also get to legally occupy such houses?
Firstly, let me acknowledge the question raised by Ben. And just to reply to his question, the whole of government, and especially in this particular case, human settlement led by our Honorable Minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, there is an agreement that we have reached to profoundly review our current systems to make sure that we strengthen our capacity to fight corruption. Most government departments have anti-corruption units, and we are working on a principle of continuous and consistent improvement to make sure that we tighten up our systems to deal with issues of corruption. And again, we are working with law enforcement institutions and organs of the state to make sure that we deal with this issue of corruption. Right here in Gauteng, I can tell you, since last year, we have initiated a program working with the law enforcement agencies to make sure that we follow up on reported allegations of sale of stands, of swapping of stands, giving houses to non-deserving people. So government is committed, and I think our efforts moving forward, we will demonstrate beyond doubt that we are committed to closing all the loopholes in the system through advanced technology. So I'm confident on that side, and I think Ben can sit rest assured that this matter we're looking at it. The issue about foreign nationals, and my experience about this issue is that normally when we raise this question, there's a very big danger of sounding very xenophobic about the issue. It's a very complex question for us, but the matter pertaining to housing and foreign nationals, the current policy position is clear. Foreign nationals, and by the way, not only foreign nationals, South Africans as well, many of them do not qualify for fully subsidized houses. So the issue for me has always been there are many people who don't qualify to receive subsidized, fully subsidized housing. So foreign nationals, that is the current policy. And that policy, I think, it's a consistent policy. But there are cases, though, where as a result of corruption, we have seen non-deserving people, be they foreigners, be they South Africans, somehow end up having houses. And that question is exactly what I'm saying, that we're going to attend to that issue and make sure that all government stock is properly accounted for and given to deserving beneficiaries.
Mike is in Seshego. Welcome, Mike.
Hello. Mike is in Seshego. Welcome, Mike. Yes, how are you, Mbo?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking.
Yes, how are you? I'm doing very well. Yes, I'm fine, man. I just want to check with the MEC there, because I've realized that most of these RDPs have been built by these contractors who employ our brothers from the neighbors countries, like Zimbabwe and they pay them cheap. I've realized that in most of these houses, they are not well built and they are not well being checked by the department. After 2 or 3 months or a year, the house has to crack and fall. Then the department takes time to can come and fix those houses. What is the measure from the MEC to check who is building those houses and whether they qualify to build those houses, and the houses can stay for a long time without checks and being falling?
All right. Thanks, Mike. MEC, I'm going to give you time to respond to that question only after the break.
Thank you.
This question time. Please don't go away.
healthy food is not always the cheapest food option. And so making the healthy choices, the easier choices, remain a health challenge for South African children.
Bipolar disorder is said to affect 1 in 100 people.
Low back pain, the most common spinal disorder, affects about 8 out of 10 people at some point in their lives.
Back pain persists for more than a week or two. Seek advice.
I'm Dr. Cyril Mutau. Watch Health Talk every Saturday on SABC.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. Our guest today is the MEC for Human Settlements here in Gauteng, Jacob Mamabolo, and Minki Maristatla, the head of media at the South Africa Institute of Race Relations. MEC, the question I think relates to quality assurance as well.
Yes, let me also welcome the question that was asked by Mike pertaining to quality standards in construction of government houses. I think the question that he raises would have been much more of a worry to me in the period prior to government adopting a policy document known as Breaking New Ground. That perspective, it was introduced in 2004. Government has created institutional capacity to look at questions of quality. We have a government structure that is popularly known as the NHBRC, which is basically a council that regulates housing standards and quality. So that issue is being attended to. Actually, if you look at the houses that were built earlier in the early years and the ones that are being built now, there's a big difference. And before actually a contractor is paid, there is a team of government, and this is an established practice. They go out to verify, confirm that the houses were built according to prescribed standards and quality. And if it doesn't comply, either measures will be taken that could include, removing that part which does not comply, rebuilding it again, the contractor not paid until they sort out the issue. So issues of housing quality and standards are as best practice within the current housing human settlement delivery practices.
Minki, the mushrooming of informal settlements, how does this affect the provision of housing?
It does. It makes it a massive challenge. So even though the government has done well, as we've said, it's not solved yet. And we have 15 years if the government wants to reach the deadline that it set itself. And as you say, I mean, the informal settlements are mushrooming. A lot of people moving, especially to provinces like Gauteng, because Gauteng is the economic hub. So people hope to come here and find work, and that's a big challenge. So it is a massive challenge for the Gauteng government as well, and that's why we were very interested to see whether any cutbacks would be outlined in the budget speech, and also, or at least how the money is going to be spent to start putting this into motion. And we didn't unfortunately see anything. So that is a worry for us. And we, and then we hear, for example, Minister Sisulu and President Zuma also, talking about people going out and building their own houses, and that is a great solution. I was actually at the launch of the Department for Human Settlements launch of a youth brigade where young people would be trained up to become skilled in, for example, construction or electricity, electrification, plumbing, and so forth. And I thought that was absolutely wonderful, because that's the key. Is we must start thinking about where, if we can give people jobs, they will start providing for themselves. If we can give them skills, they will start providing for themselves. And if there is investment, so investment in the country from outside as well, from abroad, investment in construction projects and so forth, then you can also see people being skilled up, having futures, being able to own their own homes.
Okay.
But we didn't see any of that mentioned in the budget.
Okay. Let me see. A quick one.
I wanted to comment on that.
Yes, very quickly.
Let me indicate that actually anywhere in the world you would know, particularly in the current economic climate in the world, nobody has all the resources in the world to do what they want to do. So there will always be a limitation of resources, but our government has actually even improved in terms of real percentages, expenditure, and I'm quite confident that we should be able to deliver on our mandate and continue with a good story.
Okay, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Okay.
But that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guest and you for watching the show. Welcome your feedback via email. Questiontime@sabc.co.za. Our Twitter handle is @questiontime24. From me and the crew, have a wonderful time. Goodbye.